The land stretched wide under the late afternoon sun, golden and endless, the kind of horizon that swallowed silence whole. She stood there with her sleeves rolled up, sweat clinging to her brow, her hands blistered from lifting another heavy log into place. Each piece of timber she raised was more than just wood. It was defiance, determination, and a declaration that she would not give up on herself. She was building her cabin one log at a time, and though the work was grueling, it was also healing. She had left behind a life that tried to break her, and out here, with only the wind as her companion, she was starting over. Across the field, not far from the line of pines that guarded the ranch, a cowboy leaned against the fence, his hat tilted low to shield his eyes, but it wasn't the sun he was hiding from. It was the storm inside his chest. He was a widower, and the loneliness weighed on him heavier than any saddle he had ever carried. He had buried his wife years ago, and though time had dulled the sharpest edges of grief, it had never given him back the warmth of a home. He longed for a family, for laughter in the kitchen, for someone to share the silence with when the day's work was done. When he first saw her, he thought she might give up after the first log. She was small compared to the weight of the world she was lifting. But each day when the sun rose, she was out there working, moving timber, steadying beams, hammering nails with hands that trembled but never stopped. Something about her grit pulled at him. He had spent years telling himself he was too broken to want more, yet watching her carve a place for herself stirred something that had been buried deep. He remembered the first time he offered help. She looked at him with eyes that spoke of too many battles fought alone. "I can do it," she said softly, her voice both fragile and fierce. He didn't push, just tipped his hat and walked away. But he came back the next day and the next, sometimes bringing extra tools, sometimes just standing nearby in case she faltered. He never said much. Cowboys rarely did, but his presence was steady, like the earth beneath her feet. As the weeks went by, the cabin began to rise. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. A roof that would keep out the rain, walls that would hold in warmth, and windows that would one day frame the sunrises she had fought to see again. Every night after setting down her tools, she would sit on the unfinished porch, breathing in the stillness. And every night across the fence, she would catch a glimpse of him, always there, always watching, his silence saying more than words could. One evening, as the sky bled into shades of crimson and violet, a storm rolled in quicker than either of them expected. She rushed to cover the supplies, but the wind was too strong. The logs she had stacked shifted dangerously, and before she could move, one rolled toward her. In that